Princess of Wales surprises mother who was told 8 times her premature baby might die, only for the little one to defy doctors each time. A mother who was told 8 times that her premature baby was going to die, only for the little one to defy doctors each time, has revealed how she received a surprise visit from the Princess of Wales. Misha Han's daughter Amaya Ray was born at just 23 weeks. The newborn was classed as a late miscarriage, and Misha, from Crawley, West Sussex, thought she'd never be bringing her much longed-for baby home. After beating all odds to survive a traumatic birth, Misha and husband Jamie's hopes were dashed when just days later the medical team told them to say their goodbyes to their daughter. But fighter Amaya Ray stunned her carers after defying all expectations repeatedly. Her family was told she was going to die on 8 separate occasions during her 360-day hospital stay. But each time she came back stronger, and now, just shy of 18 months old, she's the picture of a bright and happy baby as she plays at home, and she even has a royal fan, after receiving a special visit from Kate, 41, while in hospital. First-time mother Misha, 27, said, "It's nothing short of a miracle. I'm not religious, but I really do believe she has had someone watching over her, telling her it's not her time to go yet, sending her back. At first, each time we were told to say goodbye to her, our world just crumbled. But after the 5th or 6th time, I had faith in Amaya. I knew my girl wasn't going anywhere." She survived being born at 23 weeks. "We always say she's not here to be average." Recalling the royal visit, Misha said, "When we were in the Evelina Children's Hospital, we were totally stunned when Catherine, Princess of Wales, made an unexpected visit. Catherine was so lovely, she listened intently to Amaya's story and genuinely seemed so taken with her and asked such a lot of questions. She seemed totally besotted, complimenting her smiles and her outfit. Amaya couldn't take her eyes off her, she was transfixed. Someone suggested we take her to see a Disney princess show at Christmas, but we joked she only deals with actual royalty now." Misha and Jamie were delighted when they discovered Misha was pregnant with a baby girl after trying for over a year. The first time mother had a textbook pregnancy, until she started experiencing cramps while out during a shopping trip with friends. She brushed them off as Braxton Hicks, but after getting home Jamie rushed her to hospital. Doctors tried to slow down the labor, but they eventually told Misha there was nothing they could do to stop what was technically a late miscarriage. Misha said, "The doctor said, 'I'm so sorry, this baby is coming.' They asked would we like to hear the heartbeats one last time, but we couldn't. I shut down and tried to mentally prepare for the fact I would never have my baby." The medical team said they would try their best to save her, which legally they weren't obliged to do, as she was born before the 24-week limit where she would be classed as incompatible with life. She was born into a bag and whisked away to NICU. They told me she was breathing, but we didn't think we would ever get to hold her alive. Then, there was just Jamie and I left in the room. The silence was deafening, you could hear a pin drop. We didn't even know what to say to each other, so we just sat there in silence. A nurse came in and showed us a photo of Amaya. She said, "She's quite the character, she's nibbling the nurse's fingers." Then we realized we had a fighter on our hands. I was allowed to go and see her and I put my hand into the incubator, and she just grabbed onto my finger. It was so overwhelming. In that moment I just fell in love with her. Amaya Ray was born on August 28, 2021 at East Surrey Hospital, weighing just 680 grams, but Misha was warned that as soon as her daughter was stable enough, she would need to be moved to another hospital where there was more specialist care available. At 14 days old, Amaya Ray was transferred to King's College Hospital. Doctors told the family that it was highly likely she would not survive the journey, but they had no choice but to get her to another hospital. Amaya suffered a brain bleed and lung hemorrhage in the ambulance, but she was eventually made stable in the hospital. After Misha and Jamie had driven the hour's journey back home that night, they received an urgent call from the hospital, telling them to come back immediately as Amaya had taken a turn for the worse. Misha said, "We rushed back, worried we wouldn't make it back to see her alive, but by the time we got there, She had inexplicably stabilized. She gave us quite the fright. Another time we were told she needed emergency surgery on her bowel and we had to give permission over the phone because eco-protesters were blocking the M25 and we couldn't see her before she was rushed to theater. Due to the hospital being an hour away from the family's home, they were given a room at a Ronald McDonald House next to the hospital so they were able to be with Amaya at the drop of a hat. During the next 11 months, Amaya suffered a perforated bowel, which she had to have 10 centimeters of removed, and contracted sepsis, but she bounced back every time. Misha added, another time we were told we had come to the end of the road when doctors discovered that her pulmonary vein stenosis, that take blood from her heart to lungs and body. 2 veins out of the 4 were not actually connected. The other 2 had scar tissue due to the impact of having the extra blood flow. We were given the option to take Amaya to palliative care, or take her home and wait for her to die. I said, she's not giving up now, and amazingly, the next morning, we had a call from the doctor who asked specialists to look at her scans. They realized that her body had managed to produce new veins connecting from the top unconnected veins to feed directly into the bottom. They were able to balloon her veins to ensure good blood flow and eventually once they had managed to find a stent small enough for her she was able to have stents placed. Due to the specialist care Amaya needed, she was transferred to the Evelina London Children's Hospital, where she spent 166 days before finally being allowed home. It was there she met the Princess of Wales, who is a patron of the hospital, on the weekend of the Queen's Platinum Jubilee. Misha explained, I was with Amaya and her nurse came in and said we had someone who would like to visit us. I was stunned when I realized who it was. I kept saying it couldn't be her because it was the Jubilee weekend. But the nurse explained that Catherine had come to make a quick visit to the hospital to see families who weren't able to be out celebrating, and they had told her about Amaya and she had asked to meet her. There were no press there, we didn't see any bodyguards, she just popped in to meet the children. She was so lovely. Now, although Amaya will need to have oxygen for a few months yet, Misha says she is just like any other toddler. She does have some underlying conditions but hopefully they will not hold her back and are manageable. She is doing so well. She's such a happy, chilled out little girl. You'd never know what she's been through, said Misha. slow down the labor, but they eventually told Misha there was nothing they could do to stop what was technically a late miscarriage. Misha said, "The doctor said, 'I'm so sorry, this baby is coming.' They asked would we like to hear the heartbeats one last time, but we couldn't. I shut down and tried to mentally prepare for the fact I would never have my baby." The medical team said they would try their best to save her, which legally they weren't obliged to do, as she was born before the 24-week limit where she would be classed as incompatible with life. She was born into a bag and whisked away to NICU. They told me she was breathing, but we didn't think we would ever get to hold her alive. Then, there